The person who cares less in a relationship often has more power, and the reason might surprise you. But the reason has almost nothing to do with being cold. Imagine two people texting. One checks their phone every few minutes. They reread messages. They wonder why the other person hasn't replied. They start thinking, did I say something wrong? The other person is simply living their day. Same relationship, same conversation, completely different experience. And strangely, the person who is less emotionally dependent often feels more powerful. Why? Because power usually follows the person who has less to lose. When you desperately need someone's attention, their behavior starts controlling your emotions. A late reply can ruin your mood. A short message can make you anxious. Their approval becomes a reward, and their distance feels like punishment. But when you genuinely don't need someone to validate your worth, the entire dynamic changes. You stop chasing every response. You stop trying to decode every silence. And most importantly, you stop negotiating against yourself just to keep someone interested. This is where something psychologically interesting happens. People often value what feels less guaranteed. If someone knows you will always reply instantly, always forgive, always return, and always be available, your presence can slowly become predictable, not necessarily worthless, just taken for granted. But when you have your own life, your own boundaries, and the ability to walk away, people feel something different. Your attention becomes a choice instead of a need, and choice feels powerful. But here's the part most people misunderstand. Caring less does not mean loving less. It means your entire emotional stability is no longer controlled by one person. You can care deeply about someone and still be okay without their constant attention. You can miss someone without chasing them. You can love someone without abandoning yourself. And that difference changes everything. Because the person who is terrified of losing someone will often tolerate things they secretly hate. They accept disrespect. They over-explain. They apologize when they did nothing wrong. They keep giving more, hoping the other person will finally give them the security they are looking for. But the person who knows they can survive losing someone has a different kind of freedom. They don't have to manipulate. They don't have to play games. They simply stop begging for what should be given willingly. And this is why the person who cares less often appears to have more power. Not because they feel nothing, but because they are not controlled by everything they feel. The real shift happens when you stop asking, how do I make them choose me? And start asking, do I even want a relationship where I have to convince someone to? Because the moment your happiness stops depending on someone else's attention, their ability to control you begins to disappear. And maybe real power was never about caring less. Maybe it was about caring deeply without losing yourself.